for 66,000 rupees. Either you can get a brand new MacBook Air M1, which was launched 5 years back, or you can get a latest lightweight Windows laptop like this Moto Book 60. So which one is a real deal? So looking at the design, Moto has a full metal body. A premium finish, it weighs around 1.4 kgs. It's slim and minimal. While the Mac also has a full premium metal build, this has the iconic wedge shape. The Moto Book is slim and weighs around 1.4 kilograms. Compared to Moto Book, this one is much more slimmer but feels more dense in hand, and this is around 1.29 kilograms, making it lighter. If you see in the side of the Moto, you get almost all the ports. You got an HDMI port, two USB-C port, a headphone jack. On the right side, you have two USB-A ports, a micro SD card slot. But in the Mac, you just get two Thunderbolt C ports and you get a 3.5mm headphone jack. So yes, obviously you need to buy a dongle. The one which I use is from Belkin, and this has around 12 to 16 ports. This one is a little bit costlier. It's around 8,000 rupees. I can leave a link here in the product section, or you can even go with the cheaper ones depending on whatever ports you want, but you need to spend extra bucks on that dongle. The Moto has a decent keyboard with a large trackpad, but the experience, it's nowhere near what you get on a MacBook. The way you feel when you type on a MacBook and the way the trackpad interacts, it's just amazing that you have to feel it. In a Moto Book, when you click on the trackpad, it actually goes inside to give that click. But in MacBook, it's a flat solid plane, but when you click on it, it doesn't click inside, but rather the vibration motor emulates a click, making you feel that you have actually pressed down on that metal. And the haptics in this is so good that you have to feel it to believe it. Coming to the size in the display, both the devices, it's around 13 inches, but the Moto has a 2.5K resolution OLED display with 120Hz of refresh rate. So the display is very smooth, it's punchy, it's vivid. You get the HDR option, and the blacks are actually true blacks. The viewing experience in Moto is just amazing. On the other hand, on the Mac, you get an LCD display, but the display is really color accurate. I mean, it almost feels like it's OLED until you turn on a really dark wallpaper. The display is glossy and it tends to have some fingerprint smudges, so you have to clean it occasionally. That is the same with the Moto, and the MacBook goes around 400 nits of peak brightness, and if you're a person who is into color grading, then the MacBook's display is accurate. While in Moto, you get an external software which can tweak the colors to make it similar to whichever color palette that you need. On the top of the Moto, you get a small camera with IR, which enables the face unlock, but I never felt it reliable because I wear glasses, and if I change my glasses, it doesn't just unlock. On the other hand, on the Mac, on the power button, you have an integrated Touch ID, so you just keep your finger and then it's good to go. So you can just keep your finger to authenticate, to authorize purchases, and even unlock your device or install softwares. But the real deal begins when you take a look in its performance. On the Moto, the variant which I have has the Intel Core 5 processor. This comes with 16GB of LPDDR RAM and 512GB of internal storage. If you see the GPU, it's powered by the Intel GPU, and you can see it's around 7.8GB. But don't get it confused with a dedicated 7.8GB of GPU. This just uses the RAM which is inside this device as a shared GPU, which is useful for normal day-to-day tasks like multitasking, PowerPoint presentations, or making some paint job. But because of its color accurate display, don't just get confused, because if you're a person who is into Photoshops or color grading, then this one does not have that much power to do that. I mean, you can edit a 10-minute 4K video in this, but the rendering takes a lot of time. But when it comes to Apple, this one has the first generation M1 chipset. The Apple Silicon has 8-core CPU, 7-core GPU, and this is insanely optimized to do whatever task you want. I don't know if you'd believe me, but I have a main channel which has around 1 million subscribers. I've been putting videos on that channel from past say 4 to 5 years, and from the last 3 years, whatever 4K video that you see on that particular channel is edited directly using my MacBook Air M1. Yeah, the thumbnails I make is on Photoshop, the videos I edit is on Final Cut Pro, so whatever kind of multimedia works you have, this just takes it like a charm. You can take it for multitasking, for coding, for normal web browsing, and even heavy duty tasks. This doesn't sweat. But there is a small catch. The Moto comes with a 16GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, but at the same price, the MacBook just offers 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Now the variant which I have is an 8GB RAM 512GB variant, but even still the 512 GB does not seem sufficient for me. So what I did is I got an extra SSD, and whatever files that I'm not actively working, I just keep it moved in that. And the 8 GB RAM is fine if you are doing only one task. Say you open the Photoshop and you're working on that, that is fine. But if you have Photoshop running and then you have parallelly a video editing going on, or you have an external display connected, that's when this 8 GB would feel insufficient. So this is the SSD I use. This is from the Western Digital. It's around 1 TB. You have similar options. I'll leave the links in the product section or the description. But one thing to remember, this M1 chipset was launched in 2020, which is 5 years before. But still, it outperforms our latest laptop in the same price segment. Now, coming to the software experience, the Moto gives you the Windows 11 out of the box, and you get all the features of Windows 11, and it's smooth. It comes with Microsoft Office 2024, and you have the freedom to choose and install whatever applications you want on the internet. It even has few ecosystem features. Say if you own a Moto device, then this has Smart Connect, which can let you transfer data between your phone and your PC, or even have a common clipboard, or even view your phone screen on the laptop. But this seamlessly works only with Moto devices. If you have any other Android device, then you can do a link to Windows app, which can almost do whatever things you want, but you need to do that extra step. But when it comes to the Mac, if you're in the ecosystem, you own an iPad, you own an iPhone, you don't have to do any setup. If you are in the same account, it just seamlessly blends in. The calls you get on the phone, you get the notification on the tab, and you can control whatever you want. Share files individually, share files together, use it as a secondary display, whatever things you want, you can do it seamlessly. Even it's a 5-year-old laptop, I still get the latest update of the macOS. And coming to the battery life, the Moto Book has a very good battery. It lasts around 6 to 8 hours in a full charge. If you're doing a light task, it can go up to 10 hours. If you're doing a heavy browsing or watching Netflix, it can go till 6 to 8 hours. And you also get a 65-watt USB-C PD charger along with it to charge it fast. But in my MacBook Air M1, say it's in 100% charge, I can completely edit a 4K video and render it and still have 75 to 80% of battery left. The battery life in this is insane. It's like you get around 12 to 15 hours easily. And if you're a very light user who uses only for browsing and Netflix, this can last for almost a week. And the standby battery drop is so less that I don't even shut down my laptop. I just close it and open it whenever I want to use it, close it, just like a smartphone. By default, it comes with a 30-watt charger in the box, but you can plug in the 65-watt charger of the Moto Book or even any PD charger above 25 watts, and this is good to go. When I was talking about the multimedia experience, the viewing and the screens in the Moto Book is insanely good. But where this goes a little bit down is on the speaker performance. Don't get me wrong, the speakers are loud, the speakers are clear. If you hear the speakers on the MacBook, this would be one of the best laptop speakers I have ever heard. I mean, the richness in the sound, the loudness, the bass is something that you can actually feel in such a small form factor. So to conclude, get a Moto Book 60 if you're looking for a sleek Windows laptop with a great battery life and insanely good display, and can be used for all your multitasking purposes. You are a student, you want to install a lot of applications, you want the versatility of Windows, and also have a good viewing experience with multimedia and an ample amount of charge and ample amount of ports, then this is for you if you are not into heavy editing or creative tasks. But go for this MacBook Air M1 if you want to do whatever task that you just did on your Moto Book 60, along with the creative tasks and 4K heavy video editing. It's just that there are few limitations because of the macOS, that you would not be able to install whatever you want like what you do on Windows. But again, if you are into the ecosystem, say you already own an iPad and an iPhone, then this can make your productivity 10 times better. And the interesting fact is that this device, when you're doing a heavy duty task, it has a fan, and yes, you can hear the fan sound, and occasionally this does heat up, and that's why it needs a fan. But this device is so thin that there is no room to fit a fan, yet it can easily edit and render a 4K video without its temperature just rising. All that you can feel is a slight warmth if you are doing a multi-layer 4K rendering, and that will last for hardly 10 to 15 seconds. So the final decision is up to you, which one would you choose? But I would say the 5-year-old MacBook Air M1 is still worthy.